Obviously, all of us across the country are concerned about the potential impact of Hurricane Sandy. This is a serious and big storm.
Angelique Papadelius lives in the heart of New York City and she joins us now via Skype. Angelique, locate exactly where you are in the city for us.
Hi, I'm just right in the middle. If you look outside my window, on the right I have the Empire State Building and on the left I have the World Trade Center. So I'm just near Soho in Little Italy.
Of course, in your lounge room there it looks very quiet at the moment, so describe what's going on around you outside.
Basically, we've got a lot of wind happening outside. You can hear things toppling over, falling over, a lot of noise, a lot of sirens going on. Basically, at times it's very quiet, and then all of a sudden you get a gust of wind and things are changing again and things are flying. So it's a little bit scary once the windows start shuttering, but all in all, at least we're safer inside than outside there with the other crews.
Well, that's the thing. It's being described as a once-in-a-generation storm. You are now trapped in your apartment by the curfew that's in place. Do you feel like you are trapped in there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think most residents feel that way, especially in the building, because it's just too unsafe at the moment to go out. So most people are stocked up in order to prepare for however long they need to. But that's pretty much it. You're just trapped.
New York City is often referred to as a city that never sleeps. Is it unnerving to see the streets absolutely abandoned?
Oh, terrible. I went out down there before, especially on Canal Street and down at the West Hudson River down to Battery Park, and it was like a ghost town. There were a few people down near the park taking photos and things like that, and the news crews, but everything else, the streets were just filled with either lines of police cars with their lights on or the occasional taxi. So it was definitely a ghost town, and I've never seen anything like it.
Lost power yet, you want to go take that warm shower, go do so now, because later tonight and tomorrow we're thinking millions of people won't have that power. It's really amazing that a 90-mile-per-hour hurricane 2 or 3 days before November is going to head into the Jersey Shore.
Sitting here on Mott Street a day after Hurricane Sandy hit. What I can see, there's a little debris in the streets, and most of the Chinese stores are all closed. People are just standing around because they have no electricity in their apartments, no hot water. It scared me where it seemed that it was coming into my apartment. So at 8 o'clock at night, I decided to come downstairs and sit on my stoop and watch the hurricane, which there was some debris flying around. But the scariest part was when the transformer blew up and the sky turned blue, and all of a sudden I heard the electricity and all the lights went out. But that didn't make me scared though. But after that, I don't know, as of Monday, and this is Wednesday morning, what is going on in the other boroughs of New York City. Completely in the dark as far as news goes.
We've set up hubs in each of the affected areas, in the Rockaways, Coney Island, Staten Island, Red Hook. We're about 2 weeks into it now, and we're starting to set up new sites in Sheepshead Bay, Canarsie, Long Island, New Jersey, all the areas that have been hit by the hurricane. We've been functioning completely on donations. We'll put out calls for things that people are asking for, cleaning supplies, non-perishable food, batteries, flashlights, utility items. We're starting to do cleanup and construction, and we've been providing anywhere from 10 to 20,000 hot meals a day to all the affected sites. And we're running all on volunteer power. So we've had, on weekends, we have anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 people coming through just this hub, and we have 2 other hubs throughout Brooklyn that we're dispatching to all the areas. And it's been really amazing because we've been out on the ground doing really effective work, meeting people in the neighborhoods and really trying to meet their needs.
I'm basically stunned and numbed, and I've never experienced anything like this before. And I'm rarely on the receiving end. I'm typically on the helping end, and so that's especially stressful for me. As far as supplies go, we had some dear friends come in from 2 hours away, and they brought generators, plywood. Gasoline was impossible to get. They waited hours, and if it hadn't been for these friends, I really don't know what we'd be able to do right now. And we're expecting another storm in the middle of the week, a nor'easter. And the temperature is dropping, and then next week we adjust the clocks, and it's going to get darker earlier. So we'll have less time to be out here to try to go through any things that we can salvage. We have no heat, no utilities whatsoever inside, so we cannot stay here. I believe they have a date on them, 1990. So in the States, that's a real big thing. Baseball cards. So those are probably worth a couple $100 right there. I can't even tell you whose autograph is on here, but at the time, I'm sure it was a major collectible. And baseball to us is like cricket to you guys. So now this is pretty much, I don't even know what it's worth. And again, this is just the material stuff that replaceable. Well, not replaceable. No. But I don't know if you knew this. There was a death on this block. Did you know that? No. Several doors down, when we had the big surge, one of the moms had a house like this, and I can show you what it looks like. And apparently glass came from somewhere, cut her, and they don't know if she bled out and drowned or drowned and bled out. And they could not get emergency services for over a day because the boardwalk, which goes along the beach, came up here and it blocked the fire trucks and ambulances, plus the water was so high that they couldn't get through anyway. So her body was lying there for about a day, and her wake is Wednesday. So we actually lost life on this block. And in Breezy Point, they lost about 120 homes to fire and to flood. They got decimated. They just got... and there was very little coverage because they couldn't get feeds out. They couldn't get electric feed, the digital feeds for photography and all that stuff.
See, my house was destroyed. Got nothing left of it. Basically, gotta wait for insurance to see what I can and cannot do, whether I'm able to move back into the neighborhood or if they're gonna take it over and buy us out. We don't know. Over here is my family's yard. I had my kids' playground here. I used to love it here. The only working thing left I got. Gate. But my whole foundation collapsed. Complete tear down. I'm not allowed in the house. It's condemned. See, I got nothing left of anything. Even my neighbor's house, the whole neighborhood is destroyed. Nobody has places to stay. You got people actually living in shelters where it's horrible from what I hear. I'm living at my parents' house, so I'm a little bit luckier than a lot of other people, and luckier with life too, because my family had made it out of here. Nobody died like some other people on the block. We had 7 people pass away on the block. They found them in their basements. It's just horrible devastation. It's not good. The water came in so fast. Before you know it, I was in 4 feet of water in a matter of seconds, escaping with me and my neighbors, all of us, in my truck, floating down a block, and just barely made it out with our lives. Another man who was just on his roof and wound up being swept into the water and barely made it alive with made it away with his life too. He was in a hospital he just actually got out today, so that's 5 days. He had hypothermia, everything. So.
I realized the dog was crying and shaking. So it made me nervous. So I went to the front window. I see this dark water just coming really fast. So I screamed to my daughter and I said, "The water's coming, get ready, we gotta get out of here." I said, "Let me put the car at the corner so it won't, get up to the exhaust pipe. Otherwise, we're not gonna be able to drive out." So she got all her stuff while I ran out. And as soon as I got out of the driveway, not even 20 seconds, I see water. So I sped up real fast to the corner. And as I got to the corner, I see all these cars trying to get there too. And the water just coming down so quick. I turned, left the car, ran back. And as I'm running back, the water started to be up to my knees. And as I got to the middle, I see my neighbor, Anthony, in his truck. And he's kicking the window to try to get out because the car had already stalled. And he said to me, you can't go back, the current is too strong, get out of there. And I said, my daughter and the baby and the dog are home. And he says to me, forget them for now, you're gonna die in that water, they'll be fine. I said, no, you go. So I started running, but the water kept going up to my neck by the time I even reached the property. And after that long swimming, I realized I'm too tired. It's too cold and the current was too strong. I see all the debris coming at me and I'm tasting the gasoline from the gasoline containers that was floating by. I see all this grass and everything, just coming at me and the current just like beating me down. So when I finally realized I couldn't fight it, I screamed to my daughter. I said, "Jan," I said, "I'm here, but I think I'm gonna die." And at that point, I saw a log. I clung onto the log, and I thank God that He gave me a log to cling into. So I clung to the log and started swimming with my right hand while my left hand was clinging to the log, but I couldn't, I'm not even moving. And I felt like grass, those tall grasses that are in the swamp. I hung on to that, and then I see my neighbor. I see him blobbing around, and he's been pushed to the tree. He couldn't even grab that. He was pushed to the door. He couldn't grab that. And the current brought him towards me, and I said, Eddie, help me. I got to get to the house. He goes, no, go back. He goes, you can't fight the current. I said, but the baby. He goes, no, just go. So he got himself on the tree. He climbed up, and he called out to me. He says, come to the tree. Don't let yourself get to the swamp, because if you get there, nobody's gonna see you there. So I finally let go of the grass that I'm holding on to. I climbed up the tree and stayed there. We heard a lot of people screaming, help. You see flashing of the lights. I see my daughter, I see not her face, but the lights was going to the front window, to the side window. I can see she was very, very nervous. It was dark. The sky was like really gray and gloomy and frightening. And we were cold. We were shaking very, very hard. And we're both clinging to the tree. We see a man and his son. They were trying to get away from the flood too. They told me their house was flooded with the water all the way to the top, and they saw their belongings just floating away, and one of them was their boat, and they just grabbed whatever they could, run to get on the boat. And I said, can you help me? Can you help me to get to the house? He goes, no. He goes, we can't even paddle this boat. We can't even get anywhere. The current is bringing the boat. And so I realized, wow, the boat is coming to save us. So he said, come down now or we'll leave you, because he said, we cannot control what's going on right now. Either you come down or we're going to leave you. And at that point, I don't know if I'm like, what to do. It's my daughter, or I'm going to get in the boat. And he says to me, they're going to be fine. They're better off in the house than we are. We have to find a place to go, otherwise we'll die out here. So we got into the boat. We got slammed into the apartments. The son, Vincent, he fell off the boat. And the father, who just had hip surgery, Vinny, he was also scared that his son was going to drown, because once we got slammed, his son fell over, the boat went the other way, so his son had to swim. And then the father got tangled with the wires, the electrical wires. He fell overboard. And then me and my neighbor don't know how to even guide the boat. So finally we were looking for him in the water. He came up, and then we got thrown off to those apartments with the rails, the rails, handrails. So he said, I'm over here, throw me the rope. So we threw him the rope, he dragged us in, and the four of us with his son just swimming, we were on top of those steps, and the man who owns the apartment, he let us in. He said, come in before, you get, you die of hypothermia. A few hours later, Eddie and I, when the light started to come out, we walked back. The water was still like up to our knees. When I got back into the house that morning, I saw everything just ruined, gone. My daughter was gone, and I was told later on that she was taken by the National Guard at 5 o'clock in the morning, and she was also in barefoot, and whatever she had on her, like her bag and the baby and the dog. The baby was fine. The dog kept the baby warm during the whole time. And we got reunited that evening, the next evening.
It's a working class neighborhood, a blue collar neighborhood. Most of the people that live here own their own homes. There's very few renters here, so everybody here takes pride in where they live. All the homes are well kept and clean and neat. It's like a small town. Staten Island is, we're referred to as the biggest small town in America. We've lived here for 25 years, and we got about a foot of water here. We don't know exactly what sort of contaminants are in the water that leached into the water when the ocean came in. There have been boats and cars and things like that down here, so we know all kinds of chemicals, possibly from the sewage treatment plant that's only a block away, have also leached into the water and now have contaminated everywhere that the water has gone, the muck, and we've all been cleaning this out for days, taking things out, anything that's salvageable we're trying to salvage, but that's a concern that we have right now. We don't actually know what was in the water. That's now throughout the house, soaked into the walls and into the insulation. There's going to be a mold problem at some point, so we know we'll have to rip down the sheetrock. But the greater problem is that the protection that we've had from the ocean is now gone. Just watch your step when you come out, because the storm pulled the deck away from the foundation. Really was a beautiful spot to live in, but we never had an ocean view right here. We would have to go up to the second and third floor to see the ocean. So if you see these trees that are on their sides, this whole coastline was at least 6 feet higher with massive trees on top of it. All of those trees are gone. So it's almost like we're a sitting duck, but it was built and designed to withstand a hurricane. And the house itself did withstand the hurricane.
We had a wall of water come down the street and destroy the whole neighborhood. It's been really, really stressful. We had friends down the street who died, and it's the most devastating thing that's ever happened to my life. That's the front of the house water line. In back, the water line was a little higher, about another 1.5 feet.
And how are you staying here?
No, we're staying with friends. Thank God for friends. This was our granddaughter's bedroom.
Wow. It's just it's like incomprehensible. Like,
Yeah.
the floors are so...
Yeah, this floor is bad. That was the kitchen.
Jeez. Does it go around?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, is that the fridge?
Yes, that is. That's my deck on the fence. It floated up from here, up and over the fence.
Oh my goodness.
It'll take months, if not years, because there's just such devastation.
What about insurance? What are they doing to help you?
Right now, nothing. They're they're so backlogged. They're waiting to come look. They told us they can't come here till December to look at the house. So we're like in a holding pattern because FEMA won't help us out until they know what the insurance company is giving us.
And what are you doing for food and supplies?
We're staying with a friend right now. We're going to get our apartment.
Okay.
But it's going to be awful bare because there's no furniture to take. There's no pots and pans to take. Everything is destroyed. It's like starting over. It's like, you're a brand new teenager going out and getting your first place. Everything we owned for all our lives was here. It's gone.
Well, you know what? Let's put them close by.
I'm here helping out these families that need help. And I have people that live over here that this young lady and her sister and her mom are helping us out, even though they're going through a lot on their own. And my buddy over here.
Is that a video?
He's another one.
The nicest woman in this devastation.
They need everything
Trust me,
possible.
I tell you, the very nicest person.
So, trying to get everybody to come and help out these poor people that need help.
These are our sandwiches. We brought tuna sandwiches and chicken salad sandwiches, and we're just giving them out to people that don't have power and they need food. I live on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and I was not affected as much as everyone around here was. And so I wanted to bring them some food and water today, just like I did last Sunday. And we literally climbed up the stairs and knocked on doors. And we met a nice family who moved from Russia. They were on the 5th floor, and they were the last family that we went to. And the husband, he hurt his arm, and he had fallen down the stairs, and since the doctors had no power, he could not go to see if it was okay, so he had made his own sling, and I think people just need more help and comfort. Here's another bag. Okay, well, the smell is overwhelming in this apartment because all of the food is spoiled, and we're just taking it out.
It's really devastating because a lot of homes in this building have been destroyed, and all the food has been molding, and I feel so bad.
It feels wet.
Until you come down here, you have no idea what this is, what happened here. You have no idea. Just even the energy in the air is it's just so lonely and dark, and you can tell people, look up here, you can tell people are in their apartments. It's really devastating.
never seen something like this in my entire life. I live in Coney Island, Brighton Beach, Seagate for over 35 years. I never seen the water go over where it went. The stop signs, you couldn't see the stop signs. That's how deep the water was. There was a man trying to save his car. The water surge came so fast that he got stuck on top of the car. The car was floating away. I'm looking out my window and I hear this man screaming, help me, please, I'm drowning. This was going on for 45 minutes. We're calling the cops left and right. So I made a decision just to go see what the problem was, to see if I could do to help him. My wife was begging me not to go. My stubborn self, I went. When I got to the outside of my house, the water was above my chest. When I got onto Neptune on the street, it was over a school bus, the water. So that's over 9 feet. So I ran to him, swam to him, got him. Of course, he tried to dunk me under because he was so afraid. I had to hit him to stop him from grabbing me so we both don't get drowned. And got him to safety. This guy was blue, lips were blue and everything. We warmed him up with blankets and everything else. We took him to the second floor. The people in my building, most of the elderly people live in the flat buildings. So they were really, there was one lady I walked into the apartment, kicked the door in, and she's laying on her bed, telling me, get me out of the house, get me out of the house. I think they could have acted a little bit faster, but I don't know the resources they have, and it happened so fast. The water came so fast. It was, for one day, one minute it was up to your knees, and the next minute it was past your head. That's how bad it was. The neighborhood is in turmoil as far as the looting. I've never seen people act like animals in my life. They tore the stores down that they're gonna shop in. If you go around this neighborhood now to go buy food, most of the stores are all closed down because of people looting. Now, the people have nowhere to go. So we need this. This is a blessing. What you see around us is a blessing.
The water was like, I could say maybe 12 to 13 feet high. We helped the senior citizen house, breaking down doors, and water was gushing out. 3 was homebound, and when the bed fell, the hospital bed fell, they were deceased. There was nobody there for them. Not their home attendant, they weren't taken out. I don't know what happened with their family. Also, on 33rd Street and Canal, and Bay Canal, they pulled out an elderly lady that was there left alone. She drowned and she was pronounced dead when they came. They weren't here for us. The Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday. They started coming Friday, 5 days. Today makes 13 days I am without light, hot water. Heat is freezing. I had to send my kids to my daughter's house in Long Island, East Meadows. This is tragedy, and I've been living in Coney Island for years, and I never saw, this is the worst we ever had, the worst. I feel sorry for the people, the other people who did find on the first floor. The nice tenants on the 3rd floor took them in and were caring for them. But nobody came for them. Nobody helped them. It took them 5 to 6 days for them to come in. When they were loitering, we were calling the cops, and they took them 12 hours to come inside Coney Island. We're gonna have to take trains and buses to other supermarkets, to drugstores, and there's a lot of elderly people that live here. Me, myself, myself, I'm on disability. I have lupus, I have bad knees, I have a hip replacement, and I just leave it to God. That's all I can say.
First, we were deployed. We came up to Lower Manhattan. We were serving people 8,000 meals a day. The sadness, the little widows that came up, they've lost everything. They were people that were needy, and they were hungry. And they needed, you know, our tag is we feed body and soul. And so they needed a hug to go along with that hot meal, and we were able to provide that for them. So then when the electric came back on over there, we came over here, where there's been tremendous devastation. There are high-rise buildings where people aren't even coming down. The elderly are up in the high-rise buildings, and so we've been sending meals up into those high-rise buildings to the people that just can't get out. And every day, we've been serving 4,000 meals right here, just from 11 to 5. We don't stop. We just keep serving, serving, serving.
Here at Luna Park, there are a couple of different areas. There's Luna Park, our Scream Zone areas, and the Cyclone roller coaster is right over my shoulder here. This actually was the Cyclone's birthday month, so for 85 years, that roller coaster has stood as a landmark and a testament to this area and its amusements. This area, I don't know if you know or not, is actually called the People's Playground. There was actually an original Luna Park here, and it started out as the Electric Eden. What we ended up seeing here is having much of the beach come up over the boardwalk and actually into the parks. So Luna Park actually had up to 4 feet of sand within it, in addition to waters between 5 and 9 feet. So many of our rides ended up sustaining a lot of water damage.
That's tragic. That was a house. Oh my gosh. That was a house. Yeah. There was a garage there. That house had a full first floor and garages under it. And you would never see it from the street. It was entirely covered in, vegetation, mainly, native plants like pine. That's so crazy. And all that. It was built a little higher. There's no basement there.
Like, it's crazy that you don't see any of this stuff in the city.
There's a house it's collapsed completely on the beach. Where the Bobcat is going over, that was a very mature dune system and very high, one of the highest in Bay Head. It was flattened. The sand you see has been brought there by contractors in our public works to protect us from any further events.
Pulling a lot of insulation and sheetrock out of the basements and the crawl spaces, and trying to keep the mold out, letting the air go through. Even yesterday, the water came over the bulkhead. This was this high yesterday. Again, so it just, but the work's gonna be, it feels like it's gonna be forever. There's no stop to it up and down the coast. Everywhere I turn, it's devastation. People's lives they're done. Even the houses that didn't get hurt, they can't go home. They can't go to their house, and they're displaced too.
Tears flow into the ocean, memories out to sea. This is where I grew up, on the coast of New Jersey. And my heart breaks 'cause the photos they take show a cruel reality. This is my home, not just a show on MTV.
Right now, we're at the
Fifth Ave Bay Park in Seaside Park. I grew up on Fifth Ave, so I was at this park all the time. After school, I'd come here with my friends. Every summer, I'd go crabbing on the dock right behind you, swim in the bay all the time, used to go canoeing, rescued baby ducks here before, make sandcastles. It just breaks my heart to see how empty everything is, to see people crying, having people lose their things. I haven't slept home in 52 days. We all were warned about the hurricane and told to evacuate. And my dad refused to leave. So at first I was like, well, if you're not leaving, I'm not leaving. Like, I didn't want to leave him here alone. But then he was like, no, you have to leave.
The wind started around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and everything was pretty vacant. And we survived the wind part good. Then the ocean broke through and basically started coming down the street. And that's when things got a little crazy. It got dark, we lost power. And the water basically came up to, up to the sandbags. Then the bay came up, and within about 2 hours' time, it just kept coming and started moving things around. You don't know really how far the water's going to come up. Our property is so high that it's never flooded in the past, and I got everything up to where I thought it would be safe, and unfortunately, I was wrong. All through the night you heard alarm systems going off and horns and everything as the water would fill the cars up, and then you see the cars underwater with the lights on and all these things, flashers going off, and then one by one they would just die off and all the cars are ruined, and it's a shame. Because you just didn't have just no way you could have known the water could have come as high as it did and as fast as it did. The neighbors, that's the thing that's been the greatest. And the lady, Gail, that owns 3 C's restaurant across the street, all of a sudden I see her daughter, I believe her name is Maddie, just come walking down the sidewalk with a cup of coffee out of the clear blue. And I mean, I tell you, it just made my day to see that warm cup of coffee. That's how people have been.
We will move on, 'cause we're Jersey strong. We will overcome. Sandy has not won, and we will restore the shore with our love, with our love. With our love.
Well, we're in Breezy Point, New York, and a community that started many, many years ago, truly as a summer community. Bungalows, simple living, maybe came down for June, July, and August. And you went home and closed up your bungalows and then came down again the following year when school got out. And the community itself evolved into a winter community. Every home has been affected by flooding. This is a peninsula and it lies between an ocean and a bay. And the waters came from both areas, and it was getting higher and higher even the morning of the storm, but nobody ever expected the devastation that it took on. The fires were unfortunately uncontrollable, between the water being anywhere from 5 to 10 feet in this area, and trying to bring in fire trucks and trying to combat the whole devastation. And unfortunately it took on its own life and has destroyed so many lives. And this is our first time seeing it. It's very, very, very upsetting, because we were just here 6 weeks ago watching a huge Mardi Gras parade, and to see everyone's lives ruined is very, very tough.
We originally came down here in 1935. My mom and dad and my grandmother. She bought the house. And in front of us, those houses that were down there were the last of the built houses in the wedge. And in the 80s, my husband and I, he retired from the fire department, we decided that we would live here. instead of on Long Island because the children would gravitate here because they loved it. So we built this very nice house, and we've been here since then, since 1980, as a full-time resident. And before that, I was here since 1935. I was a lifeguard here in the summer as a young girl. My son was a lifeguard here as a young man. He's retired from the police department now. And now my grandson is on the fire department. And my other grandson is studying to get onto the fire department. He's taking the tests. So it's a community of firemen, policemen, teachers. So when I say I have no papers, I don't have extra shoes. I didn't have a winter coat. I had nothing left. As you can see, this is what's left. And to see it in the, it's just the flames. Just those flames were just unbelievable. My grandson, the next day, when it was smoldering, the one that's in the fire department, he's not here today, and he put the last of the cinders out.
Would have been very upsetting for him too.
Oh, of course. Well, all my nephews. These are all my nephews. All these young men and women, nieces, except for a couple of my granddaughters and grandsons. And we had a lot of fun down here, a lot of laughs, a lot of camaraderie. Where do I go from here? I'm living with my daughter out on Long Island. Of course, they're all, let's build again. I'm 86 years old. What the hell am I gonna, am I gonna live to see it rebuilt? I don't know. Oh, this was my husband's hat. A captain in the fire department, the New York City Fire Department. This was his hat, his fire hat. He wore this into fires when he was alive. Oh, this is wonderful.
And I guess this must be devastating for you to see your home.
It is my life. It's my life.
What's the time? What's the time? Where's the day? Where's the day? What's the year we're in? What can I say? What can I say to change this pace? To change this pace. To bring you back down here. You've gone away. You have gone away. But I can feel you here. On angels' wings, they've carried you. For you are gone, and now you're a memory. Take some time away. Remember to live each day and say I love you every day. Simple things to do to show my love for you, but that won't bring you back down here. You've gone away, but I can feel you here. I want to feel you here now. They've taken you on angels' wings. They've carried you. For you are gone, and now you're a memory. If I believe in what they say, I know you've gone to a better place where you can watch us from above. I'll make you proud. We'll fly. on angel's wings.